The Tshwane University of Technology will host the third annual Future of Work Dialogue on the 11th till the 12th of November this year at the Maslow Time Square in Pretoria. Now, over 400 speakers and delegates from academia, civil society, government and the private sector are expected to attend, and this year's dialogue will focus on the legacy of higher education in Africa's global positioning. But let's get a sense of what else is planned for the dialogue. We are now joined by Executive Director and Head of Institute of Future of Work at the Tshwane University of Technology, that is Tseliso Mohlomi. Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. I see you are looking at the legacy of higher education in Africa. What does that mean in practical terms?
Yeah. I think it's better that I put it first in context. Tshwane University of Technology is the largest contact university in the country and in the continent. And at any given year, we have over 60,000 students attending classes. And the university, in trying to resolve the issue around graduate unemployment and employability, came up with a concept for the Institute for the Future of Work, which is then meant to build the bridge between academia and the industry to make sure that our curriculum as the university is aligned with the needs of the industry, and therefore then it would give our students the fighting chance in the job market. And the last two dialogues we have hosted, which was 2022-2023, were internally focused, where we were looking at how do we position ourselves as Tshwane University of Technology within the space of the fourth industrial revolution and also within the space of the future of work. And for this year, we then kind of like thought we are part of Mother Africa, we are part of Africa, and therefore we need to be looking at how can we collaborate to try and change the legacy of higher education. Changing the legacy of higher education means that from the academia perspective, we become intentional about producing the graduates who are future ready. Yeah. We are producing the graduates with the right skills. And therefore, the conversation that we're going to be having is how do we collaborate as academia, the industry, the civil society, and the government to make that dream realized.
And I suppose it speaks to something that you talk about, which is what we often hear about, the digital skills divide. Correct. And how some experts would be saying that you're producing young people that have got skills, but Correct. They certainly do not have the right kind of skills that are required. Correct.
Yes. Unfortunately, the conversation between the industry and academia over the years have been happening in different poles. And so through the Institute for the Future of Work, the Tshwane University of Technology is saying, let us be intentional. Let us make sure that we don't produce what the industry doesn't want. Imagine we have 60,000 graduates, let's say every year in a given time, and many of them would then go out there and not being able to get employment. We are then saying, let's listen to the industry, let's move with them, because within the digital space where we are at, the fourth industrial revolution, things are moving very fast. Yeah. And as the university, we are saying, let's move fast, let's move at the same pace as the industry.
And I love the fact that you talk about the positioning globally as well, and I suppose it does address the issue around making sure that some of the young people don't even need to be at work physically. They Correct. Can even work for international companies, multinationals, Correct. While they're here in South Africa.
Correct. One of the topics that we will be addressing at the dialogue is what we call the migration and the skills. And the migration and skills basically talk about not only working in South Africa, but also then working for some of the big companies. It is already happening, but we want to actually increase that pace.
When you then look at who is in the room.
Correct.
Because now you're going beyond looking at yourselves. Who do you have that is now there to form part of these conversations in order to also help you as an institution prepare better?
Yeah, we do have basically the people that will be in the room from the industry perspective. There'll be loads of captains of industry. Some of the big multinational companies will be represented. We have institutions of higher learning. We also then have roped in the government seaters who are very critical from the perspective of skills. We have also then, we will have some government officials who will be taking part in that, and different civil societies, including your international organization, your UNDP and others.
Do you have the young people in the room as well?
Yes, we will have our students. We want them to be there to experience and also to actually have their voice heard.
And how would you say that your department has changed how the university actually does its work, because I understand what you're trying to do, and you've seen the conversation on a myriad of platforms where we would see great plans, but they're on paper and implementation becomes a different story.
Yes.
So how would you say your department has then brought the conversation forward and started changing how things are done?
Yeah. In one of the conversations, I said universities and most of the institutions tend to move like a pregnant elephant. That basically means that the change basically happens slowly. And the Institute for the Future of Work is placed in the Vice Chancellor's office, which is very critical. And number one, the reason it's placed there, it deals with the urgency of making decisions. And number two, it brings the office of the Vice Chancellor and the university close to the industry. Now, from the perspective of influencing curriculum, it takes longer time to come with new curriculum. However, from the I4 perspective, we are working with the industry to implement some of the programs without fiddling with with the curriculum. I mean, recently we have had a cohort of over 400 young people going through the digital skills presented by one of the big companies. So we are able to implement parallel to what is happening.
And I laugh because, I've never heard anybody speak about higher education as a pregnant elephant. But the truth is, it's, you actually aren't lying. What does it then mean, particularly because one of the things that when I was reading, just about the work that you are doing, there is, of course, the process of incubation. There is the process of innovation. How then are you hoping that you move with speed to ensure that this is done so that even the young person who leaves your institution this year is able to still be empowered?
We were recently launching a Microsoft Advanced Digital Skills Academy. We call it the MEDS. And when we were launching, the speaker from Microsoft said, it's for the first time that I deal with an institute of higher learning, and it took me only 6 months to manage to sign the MOU and to also launch the program. And so that's how agile we want to be seen, because look, the industry, as I said, is moving at a faster pace. And now from the perspective of making sure that our graduates benefit from this, we do work with the industry. We knock at the doors to ask the industries to open their doors for work integrated learning so that our graduates then learn on the job. When they leave, they won't actually be interacting with technologies for the first time. Then the other aspect that we do, as I've said, we would implement some of the projects, pilot them, and then we encourage our graduates to be also looking at micro-credentials, especially within the space of digital skills.
I suppose it takes them away even from being consumers, but also creators as well when it comes to the space.
Yes, I think one of the key elements also of the dialogue, we basically will be looking at, for example, the issues of around IP. From the perspective of innovation that should happen. And number two, the university through the Institute of Future of Work, we also say that we want our graduates to be able to be competitive in the job market, but we also want that when they leave, they can actually choose to become entrepreneurs. And through the Institute for the Future of Work, we are setting up a few labs at our hub, which is based in Hatfield, to make sure that we practicalize everything that we are talking about.
So let's remind the viewers then it's the 11th to the 12th of November.
Correct.
All right. So if somebody still wants to participate, do they have space?
Yes, the link is still open for those that want to register for the dialogue. And we are looking forward to it. And I believe that as TUT, we want to change the narrative of how institutions of higher learning are viewed. And we also want to position TUT out there as a thought leader within the space of the fourth industrial revolution. All
right, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. That is the Executive Director and Head of Institute of Future of Work at the Tshwane University of Technology. That is Tseliso Mohlomi.